Hi, I'm Don Jergler, editor of Claims Journal. Our team here works to bring you regular videos highlighting experts speaking for a few minutes on a claims-related topic they wrote about for us recently. The videos are part of a new initiative to bring you a better, redesigned Claims Journal experience, which includes an entire section of expert viewpoints with trends and insight. Take a moment to check out our new homepage and other expert viewpoints on claimsjournal.com. We hope you enjoy this brief interview. Thank you. Hi, I'm here with Kyle Krumlauf with CCC Intelligent Solutions, and we're going to talk about the auto claims process today. Thanks for being here, Kyle.
Thanks, Don. Appreciate the opportunity.
Well, you've written about us, you've written for us before, and recently, a recent piece you wrote was about how the auto claims process has entered a new era. One you say is marked by growing complexity, specialized repairs, and rising costs. I try to encapsulate your words a little bit there. Can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. I think there's a confluence or confluence of factors that are impacting, auto claims right now. The first one is we have just the variety of vehicles we have on the road today. Vehicles are lasting longer. The average vehicle age is up, but you also have some of the most modern, sophisticated vehicles ever designed and produced on the road as well. So you have a lot of variety when it comes to the types of vehicles on the road. Vehicles in general are getting a lot larger, a lot more powerful, and more efficient. You have all the different powertrains, whether it's combustion engine vehicles, hybrids, electric vehicles. You even have now hydrogen. That's once again a very small portion of the car park, but still that's an emerging technology that's coming up. And then you get into the design of vehicles, and then we have to obviously mention the ADAS technologies that are in vehicles with the safety features. So there are all of these factors that are playing in, not to mention everything that's happening, with the market and the economy.
Well, let's get into the data. Like I said, our readers and our viewers love numbers. Can we start with the average cost of repair?
Yeah, the average total cost of repair at the end of 2024 was about $4,730 for the year. So far in the first quarter of this year, it's up about 1.5 to about $4,750 versus the first quarter of 2024.
Well, what does that tell you? And of course, how has inflation factored into that?
Well, I was thinking about the inflation piece a little bit, and I mean, generally speaking, that's a very modest increase year over year, whereas we saw, very large increases back in, 2021, 2022, 2023 was a little bit less than that. And then 2024 was up about 3.7%, if I recall. So really, we've generally seen overall repair cost inflation, the rate of inflation go down over the last couple of years. But keep in mind, there are a number of factors that are playing into that. Part of it is, once again, vehicle age. So older vehicles, generally speaking, we've seen the value of those vehicles deteriorate over the last couple of years. Heavier hit vehicles are more prone to get totaled out now as opposed to be repaired. The average number of parts, average number of labor hours is down slightly year over year. So while we do see some factors, such as the average price per part is actually going up a little bit year over year, some of the other, as well as labor rates, are going up a little bit year over year. There are other factors that are mitigating the overall increase in repair costs.
Yeah, you mentioned vehicles being totaled out. I was wondering how much that factored into that. I mean, some of these cars are just so expensive, and EVs or something to that effect, the battery gets damaged, and it's a total, right?
Well, and that we did a little bit of research into that earlier this year, and battery damage, though it does happen, is fairly infrequent based on the data we could identify, where we could tie back where that would have contributed to a total loss. Because keep in mind, getting to the battery from a damage standpoint, there's obviously going to be a lot of other damage generally associated with the vehicle as well. Now, granted, there are some other cases where that could happen, where the vehicle might go over something, hit something in the road where it could damage the underside of the vehicle and damage the battery, as well as if there's like flood or high water, that can also be something that could cause potentially a total loss where the battery is involved.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Well, here's my favorite question. What do tariffs, how do they factor into all this? It's not
Yeah.
like I've never asked that question and no reporter's ever asked that question.
Yeah, this has come up a little every once in a while of recent. Well, a few things with regard to tariffs. I think the first thing to mention is that, we're really tracking closely what's happening with part prices. It's been especially noticeable over the past few months where the average price per part has gone up somewhere in the ballpark of 4.5 to 5+% over the past few months. Now, obviously, this is something that, and in many other areas of or aspects of the economy, where we really haven't seen as much of an effect from tariffs yet as many people, economists, et cetera, might have anticipated. Some expect that we may start to see that in July and August, but it really depends. As we've all seen with tariffs, those things are changing frequently. Things are being, agreements are being negotiated. It's a constantly evolving landscape that we're trying to figure out and understand the implications and impacts of.
Okay. Well, we kind of touched on EVs a little bit, but let's get into that a little bit more. I mean, how do EVs factor into the entire repair landscape nowadays?
Yeah, I think there's a couple things to mention with regard to EVs, and I would actually throw hybrids into this part of the conversation as well. 2024, for example, less than 80%. This is the first time ever that less than 80% of new vehicles sold in the United States were combustion engine vehicles. And then when we look at the share of vehicles that are electric vehicles and hybrids, that continues to grow. When I do comparisons on this, I generally look at vehicles that are 3 years or newer. So we see a growing share of electric vehicles where that's somewhere up around 7% or more of vehicles that are 3 years or newer electric vehicles, and about 13-14% are hybrid vehicles. So that's the first thing, is you're seeing this growing share, which is really proportionate to what we see from a sales standpoint. The second thing I would mention is that electric vehicles and hybrid vehicles, when people generally think about hybrids, we think about things like the Toyota Prius and smaller vehicles. However, that's not really the case with what's being produced and sold now. Vehicles generally tend to be crossover utility vehicles and sport utility vehicles now that have hybrid technologies. And we're seeing, obviously larger electric vehicles being produced as well. And so as vehicles get larger, obviously, especially with electric vehicles, you have very powerful, very fast, very quick engines. And so you can get into some higher severity crashes with those types of vehicles. You also get larger vehicles. So that means larger panels. Also, the technology generally, hybrids, electric vehicles, basically anything produced now is going to have a lot more technology in it. And these things are all contributing to the increased cost of repair or even replacing these vehicles in the case of a total loss. So these are all factors that are playing into the continued increase in severity of newer vehicles.
A lot of numbers to look into for you. I'm looking forward to your next report. Hopefully it comes out pretty soon.
Well, yeah, shameless plug. Q2 of Crash Course was just released in the last week or so. So you can go out to cccis.com and download that report.
I think I probably briefed it on our website too, and linked to it. So I usually anything with data we put up there. So, well, Kyle, thank you so much for being here and explaining things to us. I appreciate it.
My pleasure, Don. My pleasure.